Sorry about that, folks. This is my first time going solo on the show. Hello, my name is Courtney Webb. I am and this is a strange and wonderful. And Michael had come and joined us. Oh, whoops! I moved you. I'm sorry.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, I saw I was going solo. I was about to get ready and everything.
Oh, you were doing great, I'm sure.
Yeah, I had a little mishaps, but hey, I got along. I gotta do. I'm gonna
Awesome.
do okay.
I literally just ran in my house. I've got to actually, you can see I got to fix my studio here.
Yeah.
Ba-boom. I got to add a little bit of light.
I mean, I have my little balloon lamp on to get some extra lights out. That's why if you see a red glow, that's
I do see a little bit of a red glow. How you doing, Courtney?
I've been doing great. I've been doing fantastic. I even brought my little Max Assassin head.
Awesome.
He's getting a little body.
Awesome.
I don't know when that's gonna be finished. And Dahlia.
Cool. So I just so people know, I was at an event. I told Courtney last week she's probably gonna have to do the show solo. She was so nervous, but I was so excited to help her out, and I was actually excited for her to do it by herself. And I'm gonna have to go back and watch how it went. But I literally just walked in. I was at an event. Look, I've got this lei that they gave me. I got to get rid of this. I was on the beach. It was a really nice event, but
You look very tropical, I can say that. And I am dressed in my loose, just dress casual.
Nice.
Even though my dad was like, "Oh, you're not going to dress up tonight?" I'm like, "I am dressed. What are you talking about?"
Yeah, Dad just doesn't understand, I think.
Yeah.
That's all right. So what I miss?
What do you miss? I just started the. Are you talking about my life or the start of the video?
No, what I miss on the Strange and Wonderful.
Okay, well, I started the introduction, and then I saw you pop in, and I'm like, "Oh, Michael's here. Let me go add him in."
I didn't miss anything. That's
No,
awesome.
you didn't.
Cool. Well, I am super excited for tonight. I'm so happy I was able to leave the event early and get here for this. We did kind of a trial run the last time our guest was scheduled because we had a miscommunication about East Coast, West Coast, but we've straightened it out. And I'm super excited. Why don't you tell the Strange and Wonderful viewers what we got going on?
Well, you want me to go to the story of how I got introduced to Joe Castro and his walk?
Absolutely.
Okay, we got to do a rewind of the other episode. But you know what? It's going to be new to somebody.
Exactly.
The way it all happened. It was me. I believe I was 13 or 14. I was at my local Blockbuster, and I was looking for a horror movie because I love freaking horror movies. And then I saw this cover art. Let me see. I could share it real quick. If I can find it.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Courtney doing all of the technical stuff today. I showed her how to do all this stuff and share the screen and all that stuff. So she's learning by trial by fire today.
I am learning today. Okay.
So I was while you're getting that up, I will just tell. I see you're doing it. I will just tell the audience that.
Whoops. I don't think that puts to happen. Hang on.
Yeah, that's fine. Get the right window and then share it. But I will tell the audience, as I always say every week, that Courtney brought this strange and wonderful world into my life, and just opened up my eyes to some amazing people and amazing conversations. And I love. She'll tell me who the guest is, and then I'll do a little research. And today's guest is actually really deeply involved in the independent film scene, specifically the horror genre, specifically the practical special effects genre, which is so great this day and age to see practical special effects in action. I personally love, having worked in indie films, I love the effects artists because a lot of times they have to come up with solutions. So they're not just artists, but they're also kind of engineers. They have to figure out how to make things work, whether it be articulating costumes or bleeding costumes or exploding people's heads and those kinds of things. Oh, here we go.
Oh no, I clicked it out. No.
No.
Okay, well, that didn't go well. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. Okay. Well, back to my story. I'm sorry, y'all. Back to my story. I was walking down the whole aisle in Blockbuster, and then I see this cover art of this green cartoon mad scientist with this little purple monkey, Max Assassin, his mad experience, and not mad experience, mad experiment. Okay, and the title said TOONS, and I was like, oh, cartoons and horror movies? That's two of my favorite things. So I decided to rent that movie, and I watched it with my dad, and I was expecting animation, but I got full on live action, and I was like, kid me was like, "What is this?" Because I was like, "Dad, did I accidentally win it?" Because it was like some nudie scenes too, and I was like, "Dad, did I accidentally win a low budget adult film?" but then I gave it a second shot, a second chance, and I'm like, I actually like this. I actually like how it feels and stuff and everything.
Yep. Yep.
And I like the characters, the design, and the gore, especially the gore. They really put a lot of specs into the gore. And I introduced it to my sister when she was 8 at the time. And
Oh my goodness.
and we both watch on TV, and she's like, "This is like," and she's like, what is that guy doing?" I'm like, "It's puppets. It's okay. This is puppets." It's like, "But that puppet's killing that guy." I'm like, yeah, you'll be fine. Now she got a twisted sense of humor because of that film. And then
I could see how that could affect people growing up and kind of shape their sensibilities.
yeah, okay. And then I had this idea. I was like, I can make a sequel with this. So I started sitting out, like, drawing like fan art on my fan art of the Taylor team, character Dr. Carnage and Max Assassin, and with my characters, which is Raven Looney, but she is pretty much the girl that falls in love with Dr. Carnage, even though she don't want to admit it. And I sent this whole. Let me see if I sort of see how I'm gonna do this.
You know
I
what?
suck at.
I'm gonna see if I could get a window to share while you're talking about your story.
Okay,
So
I'm trying to see how to do this again with the screen share. Okay, well, anyway, back to the story.
it's all good.
So I do like fan art, and I was mailing it to the company at the time, Brain Damage, but now I know that company's not really that good. But anyway, I mailed it so Joe can get it too. I was like 13 at the time.
Right.
And the company went out of business. They returned my mail back to me, and I was so sad, like, oh, he never gonna know. Fast forward to the year. I think it was like last year. Yeah, it was. I believe it was 2021. Yeah, when I was watching reviews and stuff, and then someone reviewed a movie called TOONS 3, and I was thinking, like, they made a TOONS 3? Okay, I never find the TOONS, the second one, a long time ago on YouTube. Someone was doing a commentary on top of it, and it got real annoying real quick. But then they made a third one. I was like, what? They made a third one? I'm like, oh, I hope it's good as the first one. Yeah, it was crazy, insane. I loved it. And then I discovered, like, oh, they're in the production of making a fourth one. I'm like, they're making a fourth one? So I went to the Indiegogo page, saw them, and I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, I gotta donate my money to this. And so I donated quite a bit of money to it. And I ended up contacting Joe and telling him all about it. And I showed him my fan art and my characters I made with his characters. And he's like, oh my God, this is amazing. But here's the thing. At first, he was like, do I know you from somewhere? I'm like, I know you from your work, but not personally. And ever since then, we just click like that. And it was amazing because I remember Kid Me was saying, like, I'm going to meet this guy and I'm going to work with this guy. I pretty much just manifested and then boom.
Yep. You totally did. Hold on, my browser is acting kind of funny here. Hold on a second. Oh, there you go. It's so slow when I open up another browser.
Yeah.
We are having massive technical difficulties the last couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah, okay, you're breaking out a bit.
All right, hold on a second. All right, so I'm gonna duck out. You stay here. I'm gonna have to restart my browser because it's doing that weird thing again.
Okay, would you like me to bring in the guests? Okay.
Yeah, bring them on. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. Tonight, I am stuttering like crazy. Tonight, we're gonna meet the wonderful and the glorious special effects artist and director, and sometimes producer and sometimes actor, Joe Castro.
Hi, Courtney.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
Good. How are you this evening?
I've been doing great. I've been doing fantastic. Other than losing Michael, but he'll be back.
Thank you for that beautiful introduction. I really appreciate it.
I mean, I didn't know my kid stuff would manifest so much, and then like, oh my God, you just happened.
Well, like I said, it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Michael, thank you for having me on the show. Courtney, thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for all that you do for the independent film community. We appreciate you both.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Oh,
I'm back.
woo. Okay.
Am I still lagging? Am I still?
A little bit. You're still cutting in and out, in and out, and in and out.
All right. It may be because I have this other browser window open. Oh, it looks like it might have. Now I can see myself real time. Okay, good. Joe, how's it going, man? It's nice to meet you.
It's very nice to meet you both, but nice to meet you, Michael. Yeah, things are going good over here. Just a quick shout out to my partner, Steven Escobar, who's busy studying for his law exam. He's studying to be a lawyer right now, but we just got married yesterday.
Wow.
Congratulations.
And, I just want to say this whole, Terror Toons world and universe could not be possible without Steven's contribution to it. So I just want to give a shout out at the beginning of the show to Steven Escobar, my partner of 24 years. And, he is absolutely 100% a part of the magic of my career and our adventures in filmmaking.
And he's always been your number one supporter.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Awesome. Shout out to Steve. I just want to say, thank you so much for coming on the show, because as I was saying, once I researched your work, I was like, wow, this guy's the real deal. You know what I mean? Like I've been working with all sorts of different levels of things, but you are so passionate about what you do. It's so obvious in everything that I've looked at and seen, and what an amazing accomplishment to have intellectual property like the TOONS, you know what I mean, like the Terror Toons. That's just like amazing accomplishment. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate you saying that very much. Stephen and I have worked very hard at nurturing and cultivating the franchise and keeping it very fresh and original. Of course, it's very, very difficult to present something that's truly original to the world. Mm-hmm. It's always, what do you call it? It's always absorbed or consumed, little bit by little bit, especially when it's something truly original. It's hard to get people to eat something other than a hamburger. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And Terror Toons has it. I was telling Courtney before the show started, I said, Terror Toons is like, people call it cheese, like cheesy. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like really fine grade A cheese.
Grade A cheese.
It's like fine. It's like from the Swiss Alps. You know what I mean? It's like the most pungent and aromatic cheese,
And put some mushrooms in there and like psychedelic cheese.
Well, I think it's kind of honorable, and we talked about this on the episode. We kind of had our Joe Castro episode, and I did a lot of talking about the things that I had researched because, again, it hit home with me being involved in the independent film scene. But you even specifically made more of a challenge for yourself by going in a genre that is completely misunderstood and almost overlooked. That gore fest kind of, I don't even really know what to call the genre. But I know you've worked with James Balsamo, and so those kinds of films where you're just you're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, and you're using some tried and true formulas that people will love, like the naked ladies and the boobies, and Courtney saw it when she was 13 years old and she already knew what she was looking at. But I think that you did set yourself up for a bit of a challenge because people, you got to kind of earn your respect in that genre.
I agree. I mean, when we made the original Terror Tunes, we did not set out to make a cult movie. We were just making a horror movie that just happened to have villains that were cartoon characters made by the devil, and that was the only thing weird about it to us. Other than that, It was like it still had the same formula of a slasher movie, and that was one of the reasons that Herschel Gordon Lewis really liked the movie. And I don't know if you know who Herschel Gordon
I know
Lewis.
he is. He is the master of gore.
That's right.
I know he did the visual gore. He did the original 2000 Maniacs, which I had not saw. I had seen the remake, but I need to watch the original one. And he did a lot of films too.
He did. He directed the very first slasher movie ever. It was titled Blood Feast, and he directed it back in 1963. And then I had the honor and privilege of making the special effects for Blood Feast 2 in 2001. And that was the same year that we produced the original Terror Tunes. And when I was done with the film, I showed Herschel a screener of it, and he loved it so much. We became really close friends on the movie set of Blood Feast 2, but we became very close friends. And I asked him if he'd give me a quote for the box of part 2, and he did. And then I asked him if he would be in part 3, and he did. And he even wrote the theme song for Terror Tunes 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's a friend of mine named Graham Tate, who plays a ukulele and sings Herschel's lyrics.
Song.
Yeah, and it's at the very end of Terror Tunes 3. And most people don't know that Herschel Gordon Lewis actually wrote that song for us, and Graham sung it and played it on the ukulele for us. So
that's so
it's,
cool.
It's very, these films are we don't rush through them. First of all, even though the first one was made in 3 days, we made the first movie in 3 days. We shot it over a weekend for $2,300, but it did take us 11 months to put it together. Wow. We took our time, and Steven, this was in 2001. This is before Instagram, before Facebook. MySpace had just barely even begun, and my partner Steven learned how to use the computer and After Effects to create all the digital effects you see in the movie all by himself at home.
Oh wow!
And then no one taught him how to do that, and he learned how to do that himself. And so, when people look at it today, they'll say, "Oh, that's cheesy. That's old." I'm like, but no one was doing it at the time.
Yeah.
Himself how to do it, and then, but now, we're getting ready to release part 4. It took us almost 10 years to make part 3, and it's taken us 10 years to make part 4.
Wow!
So it's because each one is so special, and I truly believe like part 4 is going to be a total masterpiece. It's my favorite film to date, and
I'm excited for it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be really great. Brink Stevens, who has been in part 2 and part 3, and she's in part 4, also makes her directorial debut in part 4 with a portion of the movie that she wrote and she stars in and directs. You know who Brink Stevens is? She's a scream queen. She's been in over 230 movies.
Wow!
So you probably have seen her in something. She was in the original Slumber Party Massacre. She's the very first victim.
Okay. Wow!
I have not seen that movie, but my mom.
I have, yes.
But funny enough, about the Slumber Party Massacre series, my mom I already had a name picked out for me and everything. But once you saw the second Stone Party Magical movie, the guy with the chainsaw, well, not chainsaw, it was a drill guitar, and he's chasing down all the pretty girls and stuff. And he's like, "Here I come, Courtney." And my mom's like, "You know what? I named my daughter Courtney." There it is. So my mom got me hooked on horror movies because of that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So one of the things I was going to say, which I find awesome about the genre, and let's just say it's the cult genre, right?
Yeah, it is the cult genre. It's a cult film, and it's a film. And what cult status is that you have a group of individuals that follows it. You know,
Right.
even Star Wars is a cult movie,
Right.
because they have a genre of people.
Yeah.
That follow it. Yeah. So
But
go ahead.
But what I love is the camaraderie of the community, because like I said, I'm watching James with his new movie. He's posting a lot of social media, and you meet so many people along the way who are involved. Maybe they were involved in an actual, like, Jason movie or something like that, and they're working, doing the independent films, and they become friendly. So I mean, you must have some really cool, interesting friends that you've met along the way that you can be like, "Ooh, this guy would make a good guest in one of my movies, a cameo."
I see. Yeah. Well, like I said, it was, the very first movie I directed stars a man named Forrest J. Ackerman. If you don't know who Forrest J. Ackerman is, well, he's the reason why we're having this interview right now. He is the very first sci-fi horror groupie ever, and he started a magazine back in the day. This is like in the 50s, I believe. It's called Famous Monsters of Filmland, and he actually used to go on the Universal Studio backlot and hang out with Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, and so he started the first publication. And I bought that. Used to buy that magazine when I was 7 years old.
Wow.
From the Kroger supermarket. And so Herschel was the star of my very first movie. This was back in 1993. It was called Ceremony, and also met Brink Stevens through the magazine foray. I won a national special effects makeup contest when I was 15 years old,
Awesome.
And Foray flew me out to Los Angeles to meet people like Joe Dante and Doug Beswick, who was doing the special effects with the team from The Evil Dead 2 at the time. And I met let's see, all kinds of people when I came out. Of course, I met Foray, I met Brink, I met Dave Dakota, a very well-known sci-fi horror director, and became friends with all of them. Then when I came back out in 1989, I got to work with Fred Olen Ray. I don't know if you're familiar with Fred Olen Ray. Fred Olen Ray's made countless cult films over the years, and I got to work on a movie called Evil Toons, and special effects for Evil Toons.
Cool.
I remember that. Yeah, they actually have the anime demon.
That's right.
I saw
That's right.
Yeah.
I got to work with David Carradine on that movie. I don't know if you're familiar with David Carradine's father was in the original Star Wars. Actually, was it Star Wars? No, that's Peter Cushing. But David Carradine, John Carradine was his father. Was in a whole bunch of horror films.
Well, and David Carradine's a martial arts, right? He's
martial arts. Yeah, he was a martial artist. Yeah.
Right.
Artie Johnson was in that film.
Oh wow,
Artie Johnson. He was in Love at First Bite. You remember Love at First Bite?
Artie Johnson,
yeah. He plays Renfield, who eats the roach. Yeah. Artie Johnson's in the movie. And there's a couple of other people in it. I forget. Anyways, so I got to work with Fred, and that's how I met Grant Walden Austin, who directed Teenage Exorcist. I did the effects for with Brink. Brink stars in that film. And but I mean, over the years, I met so many people. I worked with Michael Berryman and Karen Black from the original a trilogy of terror. I worked with Karen Black. You know who Karen Black is? Karen Black,
of course. Yeah,
Karen Black was in a movie that I worked on called Auntie Lee's Meat Pies, and Pat Morita's in that that movie too. You know, Pat Morita. Pat Morita is the Karate Kid.
See, and that's what's so amazing. That's how I find some of these actors who are almost A-list actors. They understand that it's about the craft, and they're so into the craft that they're like, they don't judge the genre at all, and they're like, hey, I'll do that sounds like fun. I'm curious, you brought up something interesting and a little memory in my head. I can remember when I was in college having a VHS tape of Evil Dead 2,
Oh, you will do too.
And I brought it to every single dorm room I went to, and I was like, "You guys, let's sit down and watch this." And I watched that thing over and over and over. That was probably one of my favorite. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are, because I mean, if you think about that movie, that's pretty much, it's got practical special effects, and it's kind of, it is that level. It's not high budget Hollywood, you know. It probably did have a bit of a budget, but not what you
Yeah,
might think.
I think they spent something like $2.5 million on the film.
Yeah. So that's not like, you know, Joe Blow is funding his own movie, but I'm wondering, like, how does something like that make it to the mainstream? Because that pretty much kind of made it to the mainstream.
Well,
You know?
at the time, every movie was shown in a movie theater. See,
Mhm.
it was different. It was different back in the day, back in 1985 or whenever it came out.
Right.
I forget when it came out, but
Probably around there. Yeah.
yeah, you know, but see, I saw The Toxic Avenger in a movie theater growing up when it was released.
Wow, that must have been great.
Yeah, no, I like when I saw Creep Show in the movie theater when it was released.
Creep Show,
I
nice.
was
Oh,
told-
we've got a comment I just want to bring up on the screen.
who
You
we got?
got a fan, Joe. You are the master. TerraToons 1 was so much fun, and thank you for letting me be part of TerraToons 4.
Isaac Garza is the director of photography and has been a creative influence on. And he actually shot TerraToons 1 with us. Isaac was there when we shot it in 3 days, and you know, my partner Steven was there on set, but Steven fell asleep on the third day because we shot a 25-hour day, and you know, Isaac just kept going. Isaac was holding the camera and moving the lights around, and we wouldn't have TerraToons without Isaac.
Way to go, Isaac.
Yeah, and then Isaac came back and DP'd TerraToons 4. He's the director of photography on TerraToons 4.
Nice.
So we're bringing back that whole, you know, the whole magic team from the first one to do part 4, and it's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that when you find people that you work well with, and you just kind of just continue to create just organically. There's like, you don't even have to think about it. You just do it.
And Isaac is so creative, and his skills are at such a high level. Like we shot a science fiction horror film with him recently, and he was able to, like, you know, translate his craft into a whole other look just for that film, and then be able to, like, you know, turn it around and do this crazy cartoon look for this one. So I'm looking forward to making a lot more movies with Isaac in the future. Of course, you know, I'm a bit of a tyrant on set, so you know, I want to give a shout out to Isaac, say thank you for putting up with all my madness on set. But yeah. But you know, the list goes on and on as far as like people that I've worked with over the years.
Right.
You know, I've just been very grateful and honored to work with a lot of people. I mean, you know, in different ways. You know, sometimes commercials, sometimes movies. You know, I even worked with like Barry Sonnenfeld, who directed The Addams Family at one point.
Oh, love that
Worked
film.
with Beyonce at one point. You know, and just you know, just the level of craftsmanship and stars is never ending out here in LA. You know, you one day you'll be you know, you'll be out on the beach working on a film, and another day you'll be, you know, at Paramount Pictures, you know, in a studio working on something else. So you know, I've just been very grateful that I've had a long career and been able to continue to work over the years.
Cool. I think that's probably what contributes to your success. I think you have to have quite an open mind, and you have to be able to kind of step outside of your own ego, you know.
Yeah. Well, also, the other thing that I do that I don't see a lot of independent filmmakers do is, even though it's a cult film, there still needs to maintain some level of like professionalism and quality control with your film. And a lot of people, you know, I've seen so many people come and go over the years. I mean, I've been doing it for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people can, you know, people will have like a little run, you know, 5 years here, 10 years there, whatever. Some even shorter than that. But ultimately, if you go back and look at the stuff I did at the beginning and look at the stuff I'm doing now, I've always tried to improve my craft. And each film has gotten bigger budget, bigger look, and better sounding and better quality. And you always want to, you know, you always want to increase that. And yeah, I can't say that for a lot of independent filmmakers. You know, a lot of people kind of get stuck in their little, you know, cycle, making
a little bubble and everything.
Yeah,
that's right. You know, and they're, you know, the one thing that I don't see a lot of independent filmmakers do is they don't remain teachable. So they believe that their way is the only way.
Exactly.
You gotta expand your mind at least, because I'm learning every day, no matter what.
That's right. You
Yep.
got to remain teachable. And
Yep.
I mean, I still learn stuff from very young special effects artists or assistants. I'll work with someone that I've never met before, and I listen to them, and they have always got something new and exciting to talk about, especially young people. And so, I mean, I have a lot of skills myself, but I'm always learning something new from a young person. So,
Totally.
and I that's like one of the downfalls. I've seen so many directors and producers kind of take themselves out over the year. They haven't really lasted the test of time. But I do have a core group of individuals that I've remained friends with over the years that have that worked steadily for many decades. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Well, again, in doing some research, I kind of started looking at some of the recent stuff, I guess, or more recent, you with your beard, the way you look now, and then I came across some pictures of you. It must have been 20 years ago or something, and I'm like, that guy doesn't, like, you were young, you know what I mean? But I could tell you were passionate. I don't know if you know. Do you know Ricky Vitus?
Say that name again.
Ricky Vitus.
I don't think I know that name.
He's local. He's the special effects guy who I'm friends with, and he's also just like, he reminds me of you because he's just so passionate. He's always improving his craft. He's been doing a lot of werewolf models and casts, and he just did a goat man kind of thing, and had a cool photo shoot with this goat rescue operation that was like rescuing goats. So you have this goat man holding the goats, and it's pretty cool. But again, I have so much respect because when you actually get to meet the people who are involved in cult films, they're all the coolest. You know what I mean? They're all just like, they know what they like, they know what they want to do. It's like and they're into it. So there's a lot to be said for that, I think.
Absolutely, I agree.
So tell me, and I'm not going to dominate this conversation like I always do, Courtney, but I did share this window. So tell me what was going through your head when you first saw this.
That was a Valentine's Day surprise for Joe. Because I just felt like drawing the TOONS as Valentine's Day themes. That's Dr. Carnage posing nicely with a rose. Might be blood on it, may not be. Who knows?
That's a great drawing. I love it.
So what's it like for you, Joe, when you start receiving art that is obviously fan art, and it's obviously shows that you're inspiring somebody?
Oh, it makes it all worthwhile. It makes it all worthwhile to have the ability to see your work translate to inspire other people to do art and to do their own films. And I've had many people over the years say, Joe, the reason I'm doing independent movies now is because I saw on the original TOONS DVD, there was like a whole bunch of extra footage after the movie of like interviews of how we made the film and this kind of thing. And we talked about how we shot the movie in 3 days, and it inspired a lot of people to do something similar. That's awesome. That's a plus. I mean, like, I'll be honest with you, making a movie, and like I said, it's taken us 10 years to make part 4 now. I can't make a movie in 3 days anymore. I can only do one shot a day. And that's kind of the way it's gotten. Recently, everything has got to be so crafted and so clean and crisp. And even though it may be an independent film or cult movie or whatever, it still needs to look and sound like a big film. It needs to have sound design. It needs to have slick editing, and it needs to have good lighting, and it needs to have it needs to have all these elements. So even like I said, even though I've maintained being a cult director throughout the years, I've always tried to improve my craft so it doesn't look it looks and sounds like a bigger picture.
And you're bringing up you're feeding my head here with thoughts. You said something about in the independent genre. I'm not sure why my screen keeps popping on and off, but people come in for 5 years, and not a lot of people really last. And I think from what I've seen, it's because of a lack of understanding of what you just said, which is when you make a film, you should be able to say, oh, this should have been lit differently, or this sound really sucks, and try to improve it next time. And I think a lot of what I've seen in independent film, those people that you're talking about that don't really last. Let me pull this out so it doesn't annoy us.
Well, also, there's a thing that is very common in the independent film world, and that is that the director is somehow omnipotent, and he is in complete control of everything, and his word is final. And that is a saboteur. That's a saboteur of self-will of an independent filmmaker, because Steven Spielberg doesn't make movies by himself.
Right. It takes like a whole team and everything.
It takes a team of people, a team of experts. And so when a director can delegate authority and be professional about it, and bring in someone to do their job and allow them to do their job, then you have a real crafted film, like working with Isaac Garza, the DP. Yeah. He is a true artisan. And, I tell him what I'd like. And then I let him do his thing. And then of course, again, then I bring in other people to help him, to help him do his job. And so putting a little more, even though it's low budget, find a way to improve it, find a way to nurture it, trying a way to make it more professional. Even cult films become mainstream because of this kind of thing. Mm-hmm. We were watching the original. Have you seen Hostel? The movie Hostel?
I've seen it.
Yeah. See, the first film was kind of a cult film. It was kind of independent. It had a Latino lead actor, right? Remember that? And then the second one, Quentin Tarantino presented it, and they upped the game, and it looked all slick, and they wanted some name talent and whatnot, but they went back to the same locations. So that's what I'm talking. But it was still kind of a cult film. We just watched both of them last night, and I was thinking, that's exactly how to continue to move forward in your craft. I mean, even like David Cronenberg makes cult movies. Have you ever seen any of his early films like Rabid and They Came From Within? I mean, those movies.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, They Came From Within. I mean, it looks like an adult video of adult porno when you see it. It's all great. But now he makes he still makes cult films, but they're very mainstream. And I'm always aiming for that. People will come to me. Directors will come to me, and I'll work with them, micro budget movies. But at some point, when they come back to you to do it again, and I say to them, but I want to move forward. We can do this, but my work still needs to look amazing. It still needs to be lit amazing. Right. I don't care what the budget is. It still has to look like it's this quality. A lot of people get turned off by that. But that's how it needs to be in order to continue.
Well, that's what gives you success.
Yeah, and every job is important to me. There are no small jobs. So
you gotta go big or go home.
That's right. You gotta. That's it. And you gotta be at some point in your life. You have to stop and say, "I'm amazing at what I'm doing, and how can we make sure that continues to happen, regardless of what's going on around you?" Right.
Okay, that's how I feel with something like some of the products I have, like keeping secret and stuff like that, and I have like certain scripts, but I imagine them being big and budgeted and stuff, and because I wanted, because that's my baby. I care about it. I want to be good. Don't want to be shit.
I like to say I want to become. You want your work to become untouchable. That's that. When they look at it, that's Joe Castro's work. That's that's like that caliber of work, and yeah.
Well, again, I feel like that insight that I'm talking about that is there is understanding what I said earlier about kind of getting out of your own ego, understanding that there are people out there who are going to help and be your team, and trusting those people that they're going to be good at what they do and bring that to the table for you. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to be that saboteur and be like, well, this is what we're doing. My word is everything. You really gotta.
I can't tell you how many times some of my best work will never be seen simply because the director did not know what they were doing.
Right.
I can't tell you, and some of these people, some of these people you probably know, directors that I've worked with, they just don't know what they're doing,
Right.
This pig head that's floating right here over my shoulder,
Yeah.
it's there in the background. I guess it recognizes flesh, right?
Yeah.
It keeps getting in
Oh,
focus.
so it's
I was
not-
like,
it's like
why is there a
not
pig head
filtering out the
floating
pig.
behind
That's
you?
That's what
funny.
it's way in the background, but it's a pig head from a new movie directed by Chad Farron, and it's called The Pig Killer, and it's based on Willie Pickman. He's an actual convicted murderer back in the late 90s and early 2000s, and he would have these raves on his pig ranch, and he would invite all these people to come and do drugs, and he would drug up women and he would kill them, and he would use a wood chipper to chip up their bodies and feed them to his pigs.
Wow.
And so this movie's been shot. It's already in the can, but that's one of the pig. It's a pig head from the film, and
That's pretty
I
demented.
know that the director wouldn't mind me talking about it. It's a well-known fact that this guy Willie Pickman did all of this. But the film stars Jake Busey, Gary Busey's son.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a very, very beautiful film, and stars a really pretty, beautiful, very talented starlet. Her name is Katie, and
Nice.
she's the lead actress in the film. I believe she's one of the producers on the film as well.
Ooh.
And stars an amazing cast of characters. Michael Pere's in it from the original.
When can we
Bad,
expect to see that?
yeah, Bad Moon and Eddie and the Cruisers. He's in it, and I know
wow.
Jed Rowan has a little cameo in it. He's he's the killer from the movie Blind. He's also in Terror Toons 1.5, and so there's that one. I just finished a movie with Marcel Waltz, the famous German film director here in Los Angeles, and he directed a movie with Joe Netter that stars Sarah French and Monique Parent, titled "That's a Wrap," and has an amazing cast of a whole bunch of wonderful people in it. Which is David Sheridan's in it from Scary Movie, and I did all the effects for that film as well. And then just finished up a movie with Rebecca Reinhardt from Tin Roof with Rob Mello from the what is it? Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day. He plays the killer in Happy Death Day, and Rebecca directed and wrote this film, and just amazing, talented group of people. Let's see what else. There's Terror Toons 4, and then of course there's a movie that I just starred in with and did all the effects for. It's directed by Matthew Vanaha, and it's called Appetite for Sin. It's a vampire film, and it's got a whole bunch of pretty girls in it that play the vampires. And Eileen Dietz is from the original Exorcist, and Ari Lehman's in it from the original Friday 13th, and of course I'm in it as well. And see what else we got going on. I got a couple of. I'm trying to remember what I've done just recently. I know I've done a couple of movies.
You did a whole lot.
But I can't say that some of the people that I worked with in the past are any more important in my career or my life than the ones I'm doing with now, because I feel like I kind of just got my first wind and everything is just now going good, to be honest with you, even after doing it for 4 years. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great, man. That's awesome, dude. I gotta tell you,
and just stay humble about it, you'll be good.
Yeah, that's a pretty amazing roster of people that you just talked about that you've been working with, and it sounds like you truly honor each one of those relationships.
Each one of these. Yeah, each film that I've worked on is truly very important to me.
Amazing.
I don't care what the budget is.
Right.
Like with Rebecca's film, Rebecca. Well, first of all, I love working with female directors. And not that I don't like working with male directors, but male directors. Two things that I find room for improvement with male directors. One, they tell the same story over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And
two.
I'm sorry.
No.
Sometimes they like to focus a lot on nudity.
Well, that doesn't bother me so much, but I get it.
That's all right. We don't mind it.
But they kind of tell the same story over and over again from a male point of view.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's bad, but
You want to hear something new?
If you eat filet mignon every day for a month, I guarantee you at the end of that month, you will never want another piece of filet mignon.
Right.
I don't care how
Yeah.
good it is.
Totally. That makes sense.
With female directors, they have a story that's never been told because they've never been allowed to speak up as much as men.
Right.
And so whenever I work with a female director and I'm getting direction from them, they're like, can we do it like this? Like one time I had this, was working with a female director. Her name was Ariel McLeese. And she says, Joe, I want to make this girl's face melt. I said, oh, okay. I showed her a picture from The Incredible Melting Man. She goes, no. But I want her to melt and I want it to look like it's from a perfume commercial. And I was like, wow, I've never thought about it like that. She goes, yes, I want it to be beautiful when she melts. Right. It's like, where do you get that kind of direction from? A man would never be able to give that direction. You know, it's one of
and that sounds like a challenge too, as far as like
exactly
really pristine practical effects. You know,
yeah. And so like working with Rebecca and Rob wrote the script and Rebecca was directing it, and she has a very, very talented vision. You know, so she was telling me how they wanted this, you know, this effect to work like this and this, and so yeah, it's great. You know, and that same thing with working with Brink Stevens. You know, Brink is ready to direct a feature. It's going to be I want to jinx it, so I'm not going to say nothing. But working with Brink was also that way. Brink was also the same working that way. She had a very clear-cut direction, and it was done in a way that was new and fresh and original. So, you know, I just want to give a shout out to all the female directors out there. You're doing a great job, and if you need special advice, come to me because I really enjoy working with female directors.
And I would say this might be random, but there's nothing wrong with nudity in horror films, y'all. Just bring it back.
But I don't mind nudity.
Yeah,
it's when you include sex that it may cross a line.
Yeah.
If the story has to stop while we watch sex happen,
exactly,
then it doesn't. It's not really entertainment. Yeah, it's not really entertainment.
It's like fast forward.
but if there's sex and it's moving the storyline forward in a way that is scary or like intense or, you know, brings up about, you know, like what do you call it? Suspense, then that's appropriate.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's one good thing that Chad Farron does with his films. Chad Farron is the man that did The Pig Killer. And he actually has a movie out right now that I worked on. It's called Night Caller, and it's getting amazing reviews. Ooh. So if you have, I think it's on Apple Plus. I'm not sure what else it's on, but it's called Night Caller. It's like a real throwback to like a 70s slasher film, and cool. I'm really proud of my work in that film. Yeah. It's got some.
I've got a lot of new movies I've got to watch.
Yeah. So
I got to say the universe is freaking me out a little bit because today at the event that I was just at, it was on the beach, and they had one of my coworkers is younger than me. He's around 23. And he had never seen a pig roast before.
Okay, yeah.
And so they had on the table, they had a pig that was roasted with apple in his mouth and the whole thing. And I've seen that before, but he's the photographer where I work. So I was like, oh, this would, you know, have you ever seen one of these before? He's like, what are you talking about? I brought him over to the table, and that's almost exactly what I saw. I'm looking at that floating pig, and I'm like, what's the universe trying to tell me now? This is the second time today I'm seeing that. Very interesting. So
and now you see a pig head right there.
Not a pig head, just floating there. Something's going on. I have a question. So I'm just again kind of responding to you as we're talking. I'm imagining you are a huge fan of watching movies. It sounds like you have just seen such an extensive amount of movies. Again, you know what you like. So specifically in the horror genre, the films that I have seen that I thought were very groundbreaking. One I believe was called Quarantine, and what I felt was groundbreaking about it had kind of this Blair Witch element that it was told from the point of view of a cameraman who was like a news reporter who was.
Oh, I think I know that film.
Story starts, they're going to they're covering some firefighters. They're I think
I've seen that movie.
Shadowing some firefighters with their camera, and so they go on a call and end up being quarantined in this building. But like it's all told through the point of view of his camera, and there are some scenes where it's a zombie-based thing where he's fighting the zombies off with his camera. So
I think I've seen this film as well. Yeah, I think I've seen a bit of pieces of it. Yeah.
The scene that blew me away is he's bashing the zombie with the camera, so you're just seeing the zombie like bam, bam, like his face, and it's like being more and more pulverized as you're drawing in and out of it. I thought that was great. I guess I was hoping that you were a little more familiar with that one, but that
I think I have seen that. I think I have seen some of it. Yeah, I'm a little. I'll be honest with you. I'm not. I don't watch a lot of horror movies.
Okay.
I mean, I watch some horror films. I select some, but I watch a lot of different movies. But I'll watch a lot of old classic films from the 70s and 80s of horror stuff, science fiction horror. But I'm kind of like all over the map. When it comes to good stuff. Like I hadn't even seen Hostel until last night.
Oh wow!
So there you go.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I'm a little jaded when it comes to horror. I'm very select with my horror films.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I guess why that stood out to me was because like I was inspired by the creativity of coming up with that shot, coming up with the concept of, hey, we're gonna beat this guy up with the Leno, and it's like
I'll have to take another look at that film and see what it's all about. Yeah,
I thought it was such a great film, and then years later, I found out that it was based off of like an Italian film called REC, like record, like so the little REC light that you see in the camera, and it was almost the same story but completely different, version of it, different actors, different.
Okay.
Everything was different, but it was really interesting to see that different take. But anyway, I kind of got off track there.
Okay, I just remembered another film. Now that you said that, there's a gentleman that I worked on a movie called Name the Demon. I don't know if I should be talking about it. Maybe I will. It's called Name the Demon, and a director named Carmelo Chimera and his younger brother directed and wrote and produced this film with a couple of actors up in Chicago that I went, and it's kind of like a found footage movie style film. I won't go into any details about the film, but you kind of brought that up. This is something I shot back this year.
That was so groundbreaking for when Blair Witch did it. I thought that was just something really.
They're doing some pretty groundbreaking things in this film with the effects that they brought me in on to do. So I'm very excited to see the audience reaction to the subtle things that they put into the movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it's not it's not really an over the top gore fest or anything like that. And it doesn't have hey Douglas, how's it going?
Hey.
You're feeling better.
He's got a bad connection, but he is connected to us, which I love. You're still connected, Doug. However bad it is, you're connected, and thank you for being here.
Love you, Doug. And Doug plays Dr. Carnage in the new TOONS 4. Yeah,
we had him on the show, and he was awesome to talk to. I love talking to Doug. He was a super interesting character. Again, I feel like people who are doing what they love and are connected to it are very loving people. You know what I mean? It's because there's that self-love aspect of it. Hey, I don't care what other people think. This is what I do. And there's something to be said for what it does to a person's vibration and personality.
I think how we make other people feel about themselves says a lot about us. And I think that the talented filmmakers and actors and artisans in the industry that use their talents to make other people feel special are the real stars of the business. It's great to be an amazing director, an amazing writer, and amazing visual effects artist. But if you're not using those skills to do anything to make other people feel amazing, then you're kind of living a very self-run will life that no one can really relate to. I mean, it's kind of a waste, to be honest with you. People don't remember you for what you did. They remember you for how you made them feel.
Joe, I
Exactly.
I gotta say, I love that. I love what you're saying. It's so on target, man. Perfect.
May I?
Before you do, I want to Oh man, we've been going almost an hour. I didn't even realize. I wanted to just bring up a couple of things here because I love Joe's work. So I'm gonna just bring up some pictures that I saw.
I have that picture.
Blew me away. I mean, this is so phenomenally awesome.
Thank you.
Let's go back to. Are you self-taught? I mean, or do you
I'm a
have?
self-taught special effects artist.
Wow.
But I will say in the past several years, past 5 years, I have studied with some of my mentors in the business. I took sculpting
Name drop. Let's hear it.
with Brian Wade, who is a very well-known, accomplished sculptor and special effects artist in the business. He actually worked on John Carpenter's remake of The Thing back in the day, and he's a very well-known artist. And also, I took a class with Rob Berman, whose father was Tom Berman, who worked on, I can't even begin to the countless movies that influenced my childhood. And Rob is an amazing artisan who I will forever be indebted for all of his amazing skills and craftsmanship that he shared with us during the class. And then I also took a class with Don Lanning, who's a brilliant sculptor and a very well-known artist in the business. So, even once again, remaining teachable, investing in your craft, learning something new, and most importantly, not being a know-it-all. I'm not a know-it-all today. I still have something to learn. And I think that really makes a big difference in where you are in the business and how you continue to move forward. And of course, longevity of your career.
Absolutely. I'm going to show. I don't have the extensive collection that I had the last time we were on, but again, some of these, the amount of detail and pure love that I can see going into this thing is amazing. How long does something like this take you? So this is. Let me just. I guess reference. I think something like this. The process is a little bit different because you're actually casting from a human, right? You've got like a pre-process.
This is something that was done over a period of a few days, and it does. I've since improved on my craft from this particular style of, but I still use the same techniques even on the new stuff that I do when I'm making a life cast with someone or making or duplicating somebody. But you get better over the years, right. And some people are just learning or trying to accomplish the life cast. Like that's all they're focusing on. How do I get the life cast perfect?
Right.
But I'm at a level where that's not on my radar anymore. I'm trying to make sure that the color of the man's teeth are the same in his head that are in the fake head. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to find out, are the eyelashes that I'm putting on his head into the fake head the same hue of brown as the color of his? Because eyelashes are black.
Thick hair and everything, right?
People think that eyelashes are black. They're not black. Eyelashes aren't black.
They're like, I think they like close to match to your natural hair color.
And on most men, the eyelashes are like, they have like, they're kind of like hay. Like the color of hay. They have like a hue of hay on them, and they're wispy. And so there's all kinds. I'm going in for other details while most effects artists are just trying to get the live cast straightened out. I've done it enough now where I'm just focusing on all these other details that most people don't even acknowledge are important, but they are very, very important. Yeah, they're very important.
Sure, absolutely. So, and that's as opposed to the other one I was showing, which would be, I guess that's an original.
Yeah, this is something I did about 7 years ago. I think I've come a long way since this one here.
Right.
But this is still fun. It's a fun one. I think this was like a one-day wonder. I had to get it done, and I probably spent maybe a day and a half on it. But yeah, it's just something really boom, boom, boom that I had to put out, and I'm very proud of this piece. It was in a movie titled Vexed, and you can, if you want, Google it on YouTube. It's called Vexed. It's a movie, Vexed, VEXED movie. Watch it. Okay. It's 6 minutes long. I think it has over 1.5 million views.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's a great film. It's directed by Mark Cartwright, and it stars Baker, his partner, and they did an amazing job with the film. You got to see it. And this is one of the first pieces, I think, where people started to, I started to kind of come out. I had a slump for a while, and I came out of this slump, and Vex was one of the first pieces that I came out with it. So I was very, very proud of this piece. And yeah. I normally spend about 5 days on a sculpt. Maybe not.
I got you. I'm glad you said that though, because at first you seemed like, oh, that's not my best work. But again,
it's not my best work, but like I said, it was a very, very strong turning point in some of the stuff I did.
So before I let Courtney go, Courtney, I'm going to let you go in just 1 second. What I want to know about this piece right here that we're looking at and the process. Obviously, I'm imagining you start with a vision in your head, but then you do like a pencil drawing maybe first, or
a pre-production design.
Okay.
A pre-production design.
Okay, and then something like this. What are you working on there? Is that the final like piece, or is that? I mean, that's not
this right here is here. This is the painting. I was painting it. I was adding some color to it and painting it. Yeah.
Okay, and is that a latex mask, or is that a?
Yeah, that's like a foam-filled rubber mask. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I'm going to back that process up a little bit. You create this like out of clay at first. You actually do a sculpt of this, correct?
Yes, that's correct. It starts with a design on paper, and then it's approved, and then I create a 3-dimensional sculpture of it that's molded and then poured up in rubber and latex. Yeah.
Right. Then you
it's
cast
probably
that.
this is probably foam. This is foam filled because it's such a large form. Rubber masks they're kind of wonky, like they'll bend in,
right.
If you move incorrectly. So I like to back them with foam. So if they bend, they at least have some sort of volume inside, so it looks more like it's a solid piece of meat underneath there as opposed to a rubber mask. Yeah.
Totally. So I'm going to hand it over to Courtney, but I'm just going to compliment you on this piece for exactly what you were saying. The painting work and the attention to the detail between the skin and the gums and the teeth. And just the inside of the eyelids, like it just really seems like, again, you've been doing this 40 years and you really know what you're doing and what you're looking for.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, thank you very much.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
I'm
going to turn my my dominating your time over to Courtney, because I know she's got a few questions she loves to ask our guests.
Oh, my little notebook.
And then we'll let you go.
Okay. Yeah.
Because we were not expecting to go out long.
Yeah. No, that was great. That went so fast, and that's great.
I know. I was like, whoa. Okay. So, Joe, tell us something that is strange and wonderful about yourself.
Huh. That's a great question. Something that's strange and wonderful. Well, strange is a very subjective word. So some people may find it strange that I have the Guinness Book of World Record for the highest body count in a slasher movie.
And what movie would that be?
It's for a movie that I directed and co-produced with my partner, Steven Escobar, titled The Summer of Massacre.
I do have an image of that, but I don't know how to control it yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that, y'all. Sorry.
And you can YouTube the trailer, and you can download it on Vimeo.
Oh,
The Summer of Massacre. Is that what you said?
The Summer Massacre, the highest body count in a slasher movie.
That's an amazing world record to hold, by the way.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay. Question number 2.
Wait, you didn't tell us what's one?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Although I can tell you, I really, you are a wonderful guy.
Well, I mean, I kind of think it's wonderful too, to have that. Most people would say I wouldn't tell anybody about that.
You know what? That is
strange and wonderful. I don't know if they're saying the same thing. Yeah.
You're right. Normally, I think we're looking for 2 different things, but you hit
two different answers.
One.
Okay. Yeah.
No,
I think I can put those both in one category: strange and wonderful. Go ahead.
You did. Go ahead, Courtney. Sorry, I didn't mean.
Oh, that's okay. You're good. Okay, Jeff. Did you always picture yourself working as a special effects artist / director?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was 7 years old, I saw a movie called Godzilla versus the Smog Monster. And the film, basically is one of Godzilla's darkest moments because he almost dies in the film, and you feel a lot of compassion for him. But that is done with special effects. So the director was directing the man in the suit to perform, and it had to be a director of special effects or working with the special effects to do that. And when I saw that movie when I was 7 years old, my dad showed it to me, and I said, Dad, how do they do that? And so we watched the credits at the end. He said, son, look, that's special effects. That's how they do that. And I knew that I wanted to direct movies that had special effects in them.
That's awesome.
Okay. What made you decide to pursue a career in special effects makeup and working in films? Was it just the Godzilla movie, or was there more to it?
No, it was a Godzilla movie. That's it.
Godzilla movie.
Yeah, when that movie was over, I knew it. And
did you go to school or anything, or did you just did you learn all by yourself and get people to help you out?
Well, see, when I was starting to do special effects back in 1982, when I was 12 years old, that's when I got made my first rubber mask. We had this thing called they had publications, like magazines that you would get a subscription to. And there was a magazine called Cinemagic, and all the young independent filmmakers and special effects artists in the country subscribed to this magazine. And part of the subscription was that you got to post 3 lines of print in the back of the magazine once a year. So I wrote in the back of the magazine, "Hi, my name is Joey Castro. If you like to do special effects, please call me." And I put my phone number.
Okay.
So special effects artists all over the country could then call you and contact you. And that's how I kind of met other special effects artists. And I read the magazine, and people shared ideas of how they were doing special effects. And that magazine is actually how I learned how to make a rubber mask. So we're kind of self-taught, sharing ideas with everybody.
Great story.
I mean, it could be dangerous too, because especially what's going on with the internet and stuff. But then again, there's always good with the bad, no matter what.
That's right. Yeah. I think Fangoria magazine did the same thing too.
I was going to bring up, Fangoria.
When you bought a subscription to Fangoria, you got 3 lines in the back of the magazine once.
Wow.
You put your name in. Yeah.
So have you ever been featured in those magazines?
I was featured in it for Blood Feast 2 with Herschel. And awesome. We're getting ready to I just worked on a movie called Mutilator 2 with Bud Cooper and his team of people out in North Carolina. And Mutilator is a famous cult film from the early 80s. And so I'm pretty sure they're going to do something in Fangoria about it. It's like, cool. That's like right up there with that's a Fangoria piece. So that'll probably, but most of the films that I directed were released through home media, and Fangoria used to do this thing called the Video Cyclops, where they would announce all the new releases of movies. This was like back in the early 2000s when everything was different. They didn't have Netflix back then, or Netflix was just beginning. So Fangoria would print up the movie and give give the director's name and do a little synopsis and this kind of thing and where to rent it. So that was always fun as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Man, time had changed a lot. I could say that.
Yeah.
Now I have it easy. I just Google it and they're like, oh, there it is. Unless it's like really lost. Yeah, unless it's like a really lost media, because that can happen too. The media can be lost forever and no one will know what happened to it.
That's right.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. What is the very first movie you ever worked on / made?
Okay, so the very first movie I ever worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Let me see. Let's think about that for a minute. I can't say exactly which one. I will say the very first TV show I worked on was the Roseanne Show, the Halloween episode where John Goodman is dressed as the Three Stooges. You remember that one?
Wow.
Bailey.
he's got the Three Stooges heads on his shoulder.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I made that. Yeah,
that's cool.
Oh, wow.
That was my first big Hollywood gig. Yeah, that was it.
Impressive.
Yeah,
very cool.
Okay.
See that
Does that answer the question, or do you want a movie?
No, that's great.
I think it was either. It could have been. There's 3 films it could have been. Auntie Lee's Meat Pies, Steel and Lace. I think it might have been Steel and Lace, or Evil Toons, because they all kind of happened at the same time. So I'm not sure which one it was, but it was. I'm gonna say Auntie Lee's. No, I think it was Steel and Lace. I don't remember, to be honest with you. It's been so long ago. Yeah.
It happens. Okay, sometimes I don't remember either. I'm like, what was I doing? Okay. What is your favorite film you made?
That I personally made.
Yes.
Well, I can't. I don't know if I can answer that one. I would have to say the movie I'm most proud of today is going to be Terror Toons 4. Absolutely, I'm very very proud of it. I can't wait for everybody to see it. And I mean, of course, I'm proud of all my films, but this one's going to be especially good because I finally kind of put together a team of people that were able to accomplish our vision on the budget that we had, and it looks beautiful and it's amazing. You know, it's of the highest caliber. You know, I'm always trying to go for that higher caliber look of a film. So it's not going to look low budget. It's going to look very slick, hip, and cool and Hollywoodish. So I'm very proud of it. Yeah.
That's
Cool.
amazing. Is there any like films that you regret making, or you think like, oh, that was the worst film I ever made, or anything like that, or do you just like, nah, I learned from something and then I just keep on going?
Regrets. I have a couple. I don't know if I have regrets. I just know that I would have done. I think, you know, like Terror Toons 3 is a very kind of fever dream kind of film, and I think that I wasn't I wasn't in a place where I could really hone in on my ideas and really refine what I was doing at the time I made it. And so, if I were to go back and do it again, or if I would have had the option to change things, I think I would have done some things a lot differently in the film. But it is kind of a standalone film. It's very different than all the
It
other.
is. I'm in watching it. You get like pretty much an epilogue of what happened in the first film, and then story time. Let's go. Go to a different thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm here for the vibe. Let's watch.
Yeah. I would have done it a little differently because it doesn't really. I can say it doesn't reflect the person that I really wanted to be. You know, I was evolving at that time, and now I'm kind of a different person. So, yeah.
I feel like we're about to.
There's a lot of like, there's some nudity in it that I think I would have taken out. There's some nudity stuff in it, and there's also because Herschel was involved in the film. Herschel told me a lot of secrets and things that he never told anybody. But one of the things he told me was he did this scene for The Wizard of Gore that's not in the film, where he took the cadaver of an animal, of a goat, he got from a meat packing plant, and he had made a body of a man out of it, and he used Dermawax to form the body, and they were going to cut up the goat on camera. And so I tried to recreate something like that, but I used an actual pig in the film, and I was doing it as an homage to the scene that was lost. But you know, I didn't have to use a real pig to do it. I could have done it with a fake pig,
right?
And I have regrets using a real pig to do it.
It's okay. The pig is willing to.
We just used the head, but I actually gave the pig was already, you know, had been prepared and slaughtered before we actually got it, and I gave the body to the man and to feed his family. You know, we bought the whole pig, and I gave it, so it didn't go to waste, but still. I kind of feel icky when I watch it, and I'm looking at the head of a real pig in the film. Right. But you know, back in like the 60s and 70s, they were doing that kind of stuff, and even all the way into the 80s, and even like, you know, some of our biggest special effects heroes were using real animal parts, you know, guts and stuff like that in films. Yeah. But we don't have to do that anymore. And to be honest with you, it's not very appealing or very entertaining to look at. So that's the thing I would have changed. I would have changed some territory.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. So there are some. So the answer to your question is yes, I do have one. It's that. I would have done it a little differently. Yeah.
Okay. What made you? Okay, this was a question from one of my friends when I was asking her, like, "Hey, you got any questions for him?" She's like, "Yes, I do." And she's like, "What made you open with putting adult performers in your movies like Lizzie Borden in the Terror Toons series?"
What made me to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lizzie is one of my close and personal friends. She's a very talented actress, and I just bonded with her, and she understood what we were trying to do, and she is an integral part of the magic of the film. I mean, I could have put any name talent in that film, right? Other people that we know, right? And it would never have been the same. The
Yeah.
fact that Lizzie Borden was there and what she brought to the table and her performance and everything about her, how amazing she looked nude. You know what I mean? Like everything about
Yeah.
her was magical. And it was like a happy accident. I didn't know her for very long before that. I think I just met her like a few months before. But when we would always talk to each other, we bonded, we spoke the same language, and I knew she knew what I was doing. And she was up for it. She says, "Let's do this." And I couldn't have been any happier to have her in the picture. I'm so grateful. And she's like my sister. She's like one of the closest people I have in my life.
That's awesome.
Do you plan to have her in like other films as well, or just TOONS?
She's in TOONS 4,
Okay.
and she has a big role in TOONS 4, and I would love to perform with her and other stuff. She has her own business and her own things going on, and she doesn't live in LA anymore, so sometimes it's hard to get her on set if I'm filming here, but we still stay in contact, and of course I plan on using her in other movies. Yeah, sure.
That's awesome. Okay. Have you worked with I can't read my own writing sometimes. Okay. Have you worked with that was super well known in the mainstream Hollywood world?
Who have I worked with that's real well known in the mainstream Hollywood world?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how about Bill Moseley?
Artie Johnson. You said it before.
Artie Johnson.
No, who was that you just...
Bill Moseley from the Texas.
Bill Moseley, yeah.
Bill Moseley I worked with.
Nice.
I worked on a movie called Cynthia with Sid Haig was in it. Sid Haig was in it.
Oh,
Cool.
whip.
And let me see. What about Jake Busey? From he was in the original Starship Troopers film, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's so funny because when I and he wears this mask back here. So when I was working with him on set, I was his number one fan on set. He didn't know it. He didn't know it.
That's cool.
And so I everybody's very professional. It's a Hollywood movie set, even though it's a low budget film. And when I say low budget, I mean probably under $2 million, which is still very low budget for Hollywood these days. But still, it's a considerable budget compared to all the micro budget movies that people are making on Facebook nowadays. So we have Jake Busey, and I was able to go over to him and I said, "Hey." I just straight up asked him. I said, "So do you get more? Which film do you get a lot of fans from? You still get a lot of fans from Starship Trooper." And he said, "Yeah. That character really. Oh, that and the Frighteners is what he said. He was in Jack.
Wow.
Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, people. I'm just like 1 degree of separation away from a lot of famous people. Like." That was Peter Jackson from Lord of the Rings, who worked with Peter Jackson. Horace J. Ackerman, who was in my very first movie, was in every one of John Landis's films. So he was in American Werewolf in London, and he was in Innocent Blood, and he was in all those films. And actually, Horace J. Ackerman, if you watch Michael Jackson's Thriller, have you ever seen Michael Jackson's Thriller? He's sitting right behind Michael Jackson in the movie theater when Michael Jackson gets up and leaves, and there's Forey eating popcorn. So I'm like 1 degree of separation away from all these amazing famous people.
That's so cool.
I can't leave out people like. Have you ever seen a movie called Laid to Rest? And it stars Nick Principe, the Chrome Skull, Laid to Rest. That Chrome Skull killer. That Nick was in the Summer Massacre, and he was also in a movie that I recently directed called Xenophobia. And so everybody's got their own special place, in my career and in Hollywood and that kind of thing. Everybody brings some sort of look. You can kind of see the TOONS 1 poster behind me right there.
Going at it, but there you go.
And I know I'm sorry, and I know eventually I want to work with you because I'm like, oh, I got these ideas. And you're like, okay, let me heal them.
It's funny you mentioned degrees of separation. I actually went to high school and was friends with Dina Meyer, who is in Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
wow.
Yeah, she's the tomboy.
Right. The one that falls in love with.
I forget the name of the character, but yeah.
I want to say. I know who you're talking about. She falls in love with the lead, and then she dies. She dies halfway through the
Oof.
film, or three quarters of the way through the film,
Yeah,
and she gets to sleep with him one time before she dies. Yeah, I know. I love that film. That film
that
is
was one of
amazing.
my favorites. Especially the special effects and everything. When
Yeah,
I was growing up and saw that movie
groundbreaking.
was
Yeah,
just like, yeah.
yeah,
And also, I love the style of that movie where
yeah.
they'll, the TV commercials will come in all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like the
Paul
army
Verhoeven,
recruitment. Yeah, such a
director. Yeah,
great style.
yeah. Paul
Love that.
Verhoeven. And he
Yeah,
directed that. He directed RoboCop.
yeah,
He directed Showgirls,
amazing.
and yeah, was a very influential director. Yeah, yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
Okay. What do your friends and family think of your career?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, most of my family that I consider family works with me in the industry. For all my close friends, and so they're all very supportive and very understanding, and they understand the passion. Now, my actual blood relatives, most of them who I don't talk to anymore.
Oh.
We just
Wow.
don't have. They just don't understand, and they never have, and they never will. And I'm not alive to prove anything to them or make them understand. I mean, they have their own idea of what happiness looks like, and
Right.
it doesn't involve what I do, and vice versa. And so I just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
It's
you go.
a good
That's the
understanding of
best
it.
what
Yeah.
you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Okay. Okay. Tell us how you came up with TOONS.
Ah, how did I come up with Terratunes? Well,
Yeah.
it's commonly known amongst my peers and some people that Terratunes was created when a good friend of mine and I were driving to a movie set to do special effects, and we
Okay.
were in the same vehicle, and we were driving, listening to music, probably listening to disco. I was playing disco music on the radio, and he was driving, and there was this picture of a cartoon cat on the back of a car in front of us. This like evil cartoon cat, and we were like listening to disco and watching the card, and then like literally, one of us said, "Hey, you know what? There's never been done. There's never been a movie where the killers in the film are cartoon characters, but they're like real. They're not drawn."
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one of us said, "Yeah, that's never been done." And then like when they kill you with like cartoon weapons or in cartoon ways, but you die for real.
Right.
Instead of like a cartoon where you don't die.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, and it's like really gory, and that, so it kind of happened like that. And then I said to my friend, I said, that's the movie I want to make. I want to do that. I want to do it. And he said, okay, we can do it. But he said, I want to make the characters. I want to, and I said, okay, you sculpt and make the characters. And I'm going to direct. I'm going to produce it. And that's how it went down.
Awesome.
Nice.
Wonderful.
And where did the designs of Max Assassin and Dr. Carnage came from?
Okay, that's a good question. So Dr. Carnage is based on me, if you haven't figured it out yet. Let me see. Can I do a profile? I don't know.
Just add the wig and just put green
yeah.
tone. There you go.
Yeah.
I kind of chin, right?
I can
Anyways,
see it.
and then the other one, the monkey, is my partner, Steven.
Steve, oh, that's cute.
And-
So
and
with the
and the names, people ask me, where did you come up with the names? Where did you come up with the names? And I just remember, I spent a good it's got to be like a good week, like going through names and like trying to come up with names of characters. I did it myself. I remember. I was trying to put together like the Doctor of Death or Doctor of, I was trying to figure it out, and Dr. Carnage just came right out. I'd never heard it before, and I said that's what we're gonna do, Dr. Carnage. And then I knew he was gonna have a sidekick, and it was gonna be an ape, and monkey that he had done a science experiment on, and I knew it was gonna be like his like hitman like his
Mhm.
sidekick, like his hitman, like a hitman, like a bodyguard or whatever. So I
Right.
made him. He was like an assassin, he'd go around and assassinate people for. So that's where that name came from. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. And where did you get the costumes and the masks, or did you build them yourself?
That's a good question. So the masks were built by Mark Villalobos. He was the man that was sitting in the car with me when we had the conversation, and Mark, sculpted them and molded them and painted them and brought them to set. And he's the one. He was responsible for them on set. And then we also had another friend. His name was Ron Carcosa at the time, who came to set with Mark and did all the stuff like where the monkey was, had his head smashed on and the goo came out of the top of his head. And, when the axe comes down, Dr. Carnes, and his head splits open. I told him I wanted Dr. Carnes' blood to be candy apple red. And so they were trying to like come up with like, they were using like paint tint to make the blood because it had to be bright. And, it was just a mess. We made a big mess when we did that. But ultimately, Mark made the masks and I made the costumes.
Wow.
I think the purple monkey hands were from a Bigfoot costume, the hands and the feet, and the that were at the special effects shop where we worked. They were already built, and then the Dr. Carnage's costume I sculpted out of foam. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Okay, since there was a second Tale of Toons, what is the concept of Tale of Toons 2? Like, why Hansel and Gretel?
Well, Hansel and Gretel, I thought was an interesting choice because they were a team, right? I could make them a team, and they went back to kind of like further into like a dark kind of cartoon, kind of fantasy kind of world, that kind of thing. And I just thought that they would be an interesting duo to kill people together, be vengeful. But ultimately, I think Cartoons 2 is much more lighthearted. It's like the lighter hearted sequel, version to the first one. So it's it's the more commercial version of it,
Yeah.
It's a bit more commercial.
I mean, there were certain scenes that I was like, what? Okay, like there's one question I have. In the second Tale of Toons film, Tale of Toons 2, the second Sally show, why is there so many close-up of people eating food?
That was to make people uncomfortable. Have you ever watched
Exactly. I was like, why? Stop.
Yeah. Watching people eat is very kind of creepy. You know what I mean?
I know.
And I think that's kind of like, my films aren't that film isn't really scary. It's more creepy. It's like if you like creepy stuff. It's not really too gory, but it does have blood in it, and it's a fun film. It's a fun.
Because I felt like I was watching like somebody's fetish of eating the whole time. My God,
it sounds like you did your job, Joe.
Well, it's like right after we made Terror Toons 2, people started using this word, and I don't know if it applies to this film, but someone said this film is like watching porn, but for horror. And I said, really? You think so? He goes, yeah, it's like watching Gorno. Like Gorno. And because that's like a gluttonous, guilty pleasure version of the genre that it is, basically.
Right.
And it's done with bright colors and this kind of thing. So yeah.
And then you just see uncomfortable shots, and you're like, God, I want to fast forward, but I don't want to miss it. Oh God.
Just like, you remember the shot when the guy gets the needle in his butt?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then he grinds it around a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's another guilty, gory pleasure. That's my favorite shot of the whole movie.
That's great.
Okay. Did you ever thought you will be still making Tale Toon movies?
That's a good question. Well, after we made Terror Toons 1, when we went to make the second one, a man that I worked with in another business approached me and said, Joe, I want to pay for Terror Toons 2 to be made. So he had some influence in the film, and the movie was shot at his home in Calabasas, California. So there were some limitations that were put on making that film and how gory it could be. And then another portion of it was shot at a special effects studio where I worked at the time. So we shot some of it there. We shot 3 days in one area and then 4 days in the other. We shot the film in 7 days instead of 3 days.
Mhm.
And I didn't think it would go on from there, but the movie turned out good and we liked it, and it had its own life and its own audience. So we decided to make part 3 because Herschel liked it. So each film that was made literally came with a cause or a condition that catapulted to be made.
The next one, yeah.
Like Michael came to me. Michael Kovacs was the producer of the second one. Joe, I want to make it. I want to pay for it. Okay, Michael. Herschel Gordon Lewis loved part 1 and 2. Joe, I want to be in part 3. Okay, let's make it. Part 4 came along when I was actually going to shoot part 3, part 4, and part 5 back to back, and we shot enough footage for all of them. Wow. And then it took us almost 8 years to put together part 3. I said, I can't do this again. I can't do this again. And so we took everything from 5 and we put it into part 4, and we're putting it together and this kind of thing. So I don't know that I'll make another TOONS. I don't know if I'll. But if someone comes to me and says, Joe, I want to, make part 5 or whatever, then sure, But each one came with a cause and a condition. There you go.
Yeah, me.
I really didn't think that far in advance. I was just trying to live in the moment and enjoy the moment.
It reminds me of the thing you see about digital artists with the naming of the file, and it's like final.
Yeah.
Like, this is the final film. Right. No sequel. Okay, I'm telling y'all, this is the final film. No more sequel. Yeah. Okay, I give up. Okay. Did you ever thought that Dr. Carnage and Max Assassin would become a huge success?
Well, it wasn't until I saw someone tattoo it on their butt that I knew it was a big huge success.
You knew you made it. I'm tattooed on
on their butt, and then they tattooed it on their. I think they tattooed it on their side, and I've seen, that's
pretty significant, man. Another amazing accomplishment, Joe. You just are full of these amazing accomplishments. I love it.
But I mean, the characters I think are lovable because they're just.
I love them.
They're actually the stars of the movie. It's not really the other characters, it's when the villain becomes the star of the film, Yeah.
Like how Freddy Krueger became the main star of the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
That's right. Yeah. Totally. I mean, you can care about the other characters, but you still want to see Freddy,
Exactly.
I think you're going to find, we have some amazing characters in part 4.
I'm so excited.
Awesome.
And there's I will say this, there's evil cartoon, there's evil TOONS, but there's also good TOONS in
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would it be
you expanded the TOONS universe.
That's right.
Would it be
you gotta do something different. You can't make the same movie over and over again and expect.
That's true.
You want to do so, and that's why I really like part 3, because there's really nothing like it if you think about it. It's like it's its own version of weird that I've never seen before. That movie's literally. That movie makes me uncomfortable to watch. So.
another great accomplishment.
Yeah, there was this one woman I recognized her. I was thinking because I was watching Jeepers Creepers 3 and it was one of the cop ladies in the film, and I was thinking I've seen her before. I think I've seen her before, and she's from Joe's Castro's TOONS 3 that played the other cop lady. Maybe maybe I don't know.
I'm not sure about that, but there's definitely a big cast of characters in part 3. I will say my favorite shot in TOONS 3 is at the end of the film. Dr. Carnage is in it looks like a toy ambulance.
I remember that.
He's driving down a hallway and he's
I
running.
Love that scene.
I mean, it's a micro budget movie. At that point, we were at 10 years in. You're spending every nickel and dime you have to get it done. And we built a little miniature set to do it. And I CGI Dr. Carnage. But, I wish I had the money to do it correctly. But, we're still trying to accomplish a big
I love
vision.
that scene, though.
That's my favorite shot in the whole film.
Joe, I'm going to, just before Courtney finishes up with the last couple questions, I am just putting up your Instagram there.
Thank
for
you.
people who may want to take a look at some more of your work. Your Instagram has some great photos. But is there? I didn't find a website. Do you not have a
He
website?
does got
Oh
a
yeah, no,
website.
the website is joecastrofx.com.
Oh, I don't know why it
joecastrofx.com.
didn't. You might
Yeah,
want to get your SEO
joecastrofx.com.
checked out because I
And,
wasn't.
yeah,
I
and you
didn't
can
find.
send me messages there. You can talk to
Oh,
me
cool.
about making movies there. But I'm on Facebook every day. You come to facebook.com/joe.castro. I'm an easy find. Send me a message. If you send me a friend request, send me a message and say hello. I get a lot of friend requests, and I use Facebook as a tool to talk with other filmmakers and people that are making movies and fans of my films. So I keep it very tight, tight ship on Facebook. If you want to,
Oh, yeah.
if you want to be a
Cool.
part of my Facebook community, reach out to me and say hello, and
I'm
let me
in.
know.
I'm gonna say hello for sure. I'm in for sure. And you know what, Joe? Again, I just want to say you seem so open and so friendly and so so full of a love for humanity, just and connecting with people and just seeing what that connection will bring, rather than the atmosphere of divisiveness that we're living in right now. You seem to bring such a fresh breath of connectedness. So I thank you for that.
Thank you for
And
saying that.
I thank you for being in my life and my manifesting, and we became friends. I would like to go back in time and tell my kids self, like, hey, guess what? You're friends with the creator of Terror Tunes.
Oh, that's very sweet of you to say, Courtney. You're both of you
That's
are
so
very
awesome.
kind. Yeah, very kind.
Okay. Okay, let me go finish my list of my questions. Okay. Would you ever want to make a whole romance monster film like The Shape of Water?
That's a good question. And to answer your question, you'll be happy to know, and I think I told you this right before the show, Dr. Carnage gets his first kiss in Terror Tunes 4.
Oh,
And it's a romance scene in it. So it's
wow,
happened.
we just got a spoiler for Terror Tunes 4. Exclusive on the Strange and Wonderful. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, and the kiss is the whole thing. The whole scene is it's a stars one of my very, very good, close, talented friends. I'm not gonna give any more information away from that, but it was all very special to me, and I can't wait for everybody to see it. And I hope it has the same feeling as watching people eat up close.
God, no.
That's great. That's so great.
I have to do my own personal spin on it. It can't be. Yeah, but I understand what you're saying.
My, no, because I remember when I showed you my fan of Raven in the wedding dress getting married to Dr. Carnage, and you're like, oh, I really like that one. And I'm saying, you're like, oh, I'm like, oh, we're about to have the Shape of Cartoons about to happen.
The Shape of Cartoons.
I mean, hey, sequel to no sequel.
I don't know about Terror Tunes 5, but we could talk about that when this one gets out.
Something
then
different.
We can decide.
Something
one at a
new.
time.
Yeah,
one at a time.
Okay. Who do you want to work with, like your dream person?
Well, that's a good question. There's so many, though. It would be very difficult to pick one. I mean, there's a couple off the top of my head. I can think
Now's the time to manifest, Joe. You can manifest it right now. Just say it out loud. Speak it into existence.
How about John
Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
John Carpenter. Yeah.
John Carpenter.
Maybe working with Tom Savini would be fun. Working with Tom Savini.
I think they both watched the show, actually, so you might have a chance.
And
oh,
and then but there's so many of the special effects legends. I mean, I'm looking forward to working with all the special effects artists. Most of them are still alive. That I grew up watching and learning from. So, being able to work with them would be amazing. But yeah, Stephen King would be a great one to work with.
Oh yeah.
He'd be a great one to work with. Any of that would be fantastic.
I love it.
Yeah. What about actor? It's like any dream actor you would like to work with. Tough one, huh?
Yeah, that would be a tough one. I would just, I don't know. That would be real tough question to answer.
There's too many.
There's too many. Yeah, too many.
I mean,
Maybe.
I would love to work with Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah,
love
I see.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. I don't know. I would probably want to be work with someone like maybe like Lady Gaga or
Oh yeah.
how about like someone like oh, who am I thinking of? I don't know. Just someone like that would be great.
Real
Like
cultural icon. Yeah.
somebody that would really that'd be great.
Cool.
I
Like
would
you
be
never
my
expect it and be like,
Tom Cruise would
whoa.
be somebody I would be interested in working with
Yeah.
too.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
someone like that would be fantastic. Or Jack Nicholson. Oh, that'd be one. That'd be so much fun working
That
with
would
Jack
be
Nicholson
awesome.
on something.
Wow.
Yeah, that'd be great.
What
I
about
love you
Rob
just
Zombie?
even bringing up all those names on this show. I feel like it's bringing something special to the show.
I mean, taking someone like Jack Nicholson
Yeah.
and putting him
Oh,
into like an independent horror film. Can you imagine? It would be amazing. Everybody would flock to see it.
You
What
know-
the hell? Why aren't they doing
Oh,
that?
I would love to see that
Or
too.
bring Lady
What about?
Gaga into
what-
like an independent
Yeah.
slasher horror. Oh my god, everybody would go see it. Why aren't they doing that?
I
Watch
feel like
it.
Jack
Exactly.
Nicholson would be. I feel like Jack
Taking
Nicholson would be receptive to that.
Yeah. I mean, having Tom Cruise being in a Friday the 13th or a slasher film,
Yeah,
and having
totally.
him bring everything that
Yeah.
he does in some way, some sort of like
Right.
dark thriller, bloody thriller, Blumhouse thriller would be amazing.
Oh yeah.
How about
have
Jamie
you
Lee
thought
Curtis?
about-
I would love to work Jamie Lee Curtis. I would love to work with him.
Legendary, yeah.
Would you ever want to work with Rob Zombie though?
Would I want to work with Rob Zombie? I think he has his own, crowd and following and stuff. I don't really think his art form kind of like blends into what I
Connect with
do.
yours?
Yeah, he has his own special vision that I think works very well for the people that love what he does. And I think that the kind of stuff I do really it's on a different universe, a little bit of a different universe.
Mhm.
But who knows? I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, if he came to talk to me about, I would absolutely 100% be open to the idea of working and collaborating with him.
Yeah.
It would be an honor. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that.
Good
I mean,
answer.
I'd love to see it. Okay.
You never
I
know.
have this
I mean,
one
why not?
question. Hey, yeah, if you manifest it, it can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened to me with Kidney's like, I'm gonna meet him. I'm eventually gonna work with him. Kidney's like, well, it's not expecting to become his friend, but okay.
And here we are.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so fangirl, and I'm sorry.
Fangirl moment. It's all good. It's all
It's all
good.
good. It's all good.
I mean, I was not expecting it, but now I'm like, regularly, I'm like, hey, what's up? Yeah. Okay, let me stop playing around. Okay, I got this one question. It might be controversial. While doing my research on you, Joe, I kept seeing articles about you being on this reality TV show, Face Off. What is your experience on the show? Because I remember there was a documentary you made with Steve about how it's all rigged and everything, which honestly, reality TV shows are rigged. That's a fact.
That's a good question. That show was very instrumental in making me the man I am today. Someone I'm very proud of for two reasons. One, it was probably the worst professional experience I've ever encountered in my life. And it also became the most influential one and to shape me the man I am today because I was able to truly see the people around me for who they were. If you want to know who your friends are, something, what is that? How, if you want to know who your friends really are, see who sticks around when something horrible happens.
Wow.
And that show at the time, this is in 2012. Today, and 10 years later, it's common knowledge that reality shows are rigged.
Mm-hmm.
But what people didn't know was that Face Off wasn't a reality competition show. The contract that you sign states that it's an entertainment show. There is no actual competition. The winner of the show has been chosen even before the competition begins.
Mm-hmm.
And the producers lie to the contestants, pretending that it's an actual competition show. So what they're really doing is only showing you, the audience, what they want you to see. They're not showing you anything good if anything good happens. They're only showing you the things that they want you to see.
Right.
So that show was all about making bad people look good and making good people look bad.
Wow.
It was a real eye opener. So but like I said, it turned out to be an amazing experience because basically it kind of like helped shape me to be the man I am today. I have my partners over here going. It's been almost 2 hours, so I'm gonna have to run. But
I got
you know,
one question left.
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, last one. Sorry it takes too long, but I got this. If you could go back in time to your kids' self, what would you tell them?
Don't go on Face Off. The show's rigged.
Honestly, yeah.
Don't go on Face Off. The show's rigged. No, you know, I would probably tell my old self, my young self, that you're going to do just fine. Keep going. You know, and
Yep, absolutely.
there would be like things that you know, I would tell my young self, certain individuals to stay away from. You know, absolutely, 100%. I had a lot of being the kind of man that I am, and being like an open, my life is an open book. I have a lot of predatory people in the industry that kind of like attach themselves to me and use the fact that most people know that if Joe Castro says something, that he's telling the truth. They just know that automatically, and people use that as a tool to make their causes happen. Like some people will hire me onto a show knowing that they're going to do some deviant crap over here, but most people will think, oh, because Joe Castro's involved, it must be for real.
Right.
Must be okay. And I've encountered a lot of people with that, you know. But you know, you never know. I mean, the snakes get in, you know. Snakes wiggle in, you know.
They do.
I've seen it.
Joe, thank you so much for being here. I'm definitely going to reach out on Facebook and say hello and consider you a new friend, because you just seem like such a great guy.
Thank you very much, Michael, for having me on the show.
Yeah. I
And
really
if
do
you
mean
ever
that.
want to come back on the show, just let me know.
Okay, sounds amazing. Yeah. So, anyways, y'all have a beautiful evening. I appreciate you taking the time to take an interest in my work. And for everybody out there, like I said, reach out to me on Facebook. Look forward to TOONS 4 this year. And everybody have a beautiful evening. Bye, Douglas.
Awesome, Joe.
Bye, Joe.
I'm going to say goodbye to you. Courtney, hang on.
Bye.
And
Have a wonderful
sign
night.
off. We'll talk to you again soon, Joe. Thanks. Oh, that was awesome, Courtney. Look what you did. You brought Joe Castro on the show. How cool is that?
I know. My kid self's like, oh my God, you did it.
I just love that you could even like access your kid self and be like, hey, look who we're talking to. That's amazing. And you must feel awesome for it, and great accomplishment on your part. Like I was telling Joe about all his great accomplishments. You have some great accomplishments that you've been doing that are manifesting as this show itself. So congratulations to you. And tell me who we got next week. I can't wait. It's getting better and better every week.
Next week we got a local cosplayer I know. Her name is Hannah Rains, and she had been featured at GeekCon, had been featured in Shreveport Times, had been amazing in cosplaying. She cosplays Poison Ivy, a female Pyramid Head, Harley Quinn, and she's going to tell us how she all got started in her world of cosplaying.
Awesome. So before we leave, I'm just going to do one thing here, and that is put us back in our right positions, because that's been bugging me all night, but I didn't want to. My computer's been going so slow, so I just kind of left it as it was. But I want to thank anybody who was watching for sticking with us and watching an amazing episode of Strange and Wonderful. Joe Castro, what a talented, really open, friendly guy. I mean, I can't wait to reach out to him and make a new friend. He just seems like an awesome guy.
He is really sweet, I can tell you that, and understanding.
Awesome. All right, so thanks guys for watching The Strange and Wonderful. Courtney, thanks for taking on the responsibility of starting the show, and who knows where that's going to go. You might be doing this by yourself soon, and that'll be great.
Yeah, and hopefully I can get the share system working and get the windows working.
You'll definitely get it working, and we'll work on that. But all right, all you strange and wonderful people, we love you, and I guess we'll see you next week. What do you got to say?
Stay hopeful, stay humble, love,
peace,
and stay scary.
Yes. Adios, muchachos. Okay.